Hello, everyone out there in internet land. Welcome to Tavern Talk. My name is Jalen J. Perez. I'm also known as Ryan Thane, but here I am to talk with everyone here with the Quaternity of Dice about any subject right now. So, let me introduce the rest of the cast.
My name is Brent. I play Zavi Advani, and some things have kind of happened. It's interesting. Let me put it that way.
Hey, I'm Abby, and I play Kaya Vespagen, and she's fine. Everything's totally fine.
My name is Blake. I play Toa Zora, and Toa totally didn't think he was about to get murdered in a basement somewhere, most likely.
No, we would never do that.
Ever.
Not at first.
I'm Chris. I am your game master or GM, and I'm the one trying to murder all of them in that basement/cave. No, I'm kidding.
knew
I'm
it.
not going to murder everyone. I'm not going to kill you all. The enemies are doing it. I'm just in control of the enemies. That's all.
Indirect killing. That's the way to go.
Hey, if my job as GM is to portray all of everybody else that's not the characters, so enemies, NPCs, monsters, animals, what have you, I am not for or against you. If they should so happen to kill you, I'm not trying to directly.
It's the endgame equivalent of, it's not me, it's you.
That's what
That's
it is.
even
That's what it
worse.
is. Yes,
That's
yes,
on
that is
so
it.
many levels worse.
Actually, it's not you. It's not me. It's your dice. That's what it is. So yes, if you should happen to have bad dice rolls and go down, sorry, but that's just the luck of the draw or the roll. I guess.
Sounds
Maybe.
like a personal problem.
What?
Aren't you the one who rolls the damage dice?
Yeah.
So don't
I meant,
go
like, if
blaming
you-
it on us.
Okay, fine. You might not have been in the situation to get into the fight had you guys not just blatantly knocked the door and fudged and not fudged, but rolled poorly on your rolls of, like, deception on trying to convince these guys that you totally have a key somewhere. You just lost it.
I mean, yeah, probably could have done better. But
Hindsight is 2020.
if your dice roll bad, you just buy more dice.
Yes.
They're not all
Dice.
bad. You can't be the problem. It's the dice.
Yeah, put that one in dice jail and move to the next one, because being a dice goblin is the best.
My dice jail's a little bit large right now. I need to find out where some good weighted dice are.
Yeah, some weighted dice. Yeah, get one of those ones that has like 4 20s on it.
It's weighted to 1.
See, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, waited to like a 2. Just a completely odd number that makes no sense.
Yeah,
Well, Brett is just not that lucky. I still remember the dice that you gave me, and so far I've rolled more criticals on that than you.
see,
and
those dice aren't fair.
Watch this, viewers. Watch how they're going to say this is not fair, even though they see me roll that die.
Somebody gave me those dice. I rolled them. They rolled terribly. I finally got tired of them, and I gave them to Jay. Next thing you know, nat 20, 18, nat 20. I'm just like, how is he rolling this well?
And it's
Again,
like,
there's no way I'm the issue. It's the dice.
and I've sat
No,
next
that-
to you in our live game sometimes and watched you roll. It's not cheating. You just do it. It's improbable. I don't get it.
Now tell him about the time I rolled with the devil die and his Brent's old die, and both got nat 20s.
Yeah, you just have lucky. You're just lucky on dice. I guess we should all give our dice to Jay and have him roll them, and then give them back. Maybe that'll fix it for the rest of us.
I think
No.
what it really comes down to is a skill issue. I think Jay's just better than everyone else.
You know those folks that can like roll a cup like this and then make all the dice stacked up in the same direction.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
the skill.
Just not skilled enough.
It's all in the wrist. It's all in the wrist.
I will say I have a problem with the fact that when I'm running a game, whether it be running D&D, running this Pathfinder, I roll fairly decently as a game master. When I'm a player, though, I roll like garbage all the time, and I think it's just the universe telling me that I'm not supposed to be a player. That this seat is just where I should always be.
I mean, that's how it goes for DMs, right?
Sad GM noises.
What-
I need to edit in sad GM, like some tears coming down my face.
Once you go GM, there's no return.
No, it's like every time somebody offers to run a game, it's like another hand has touched the beacon.
Oh my god.
No, don't do it. What have you done?
Yeah, poor Chris from our one table, this other player we have on in a local game store some of us play at. He offered to GM a game and it was one session and it turned into 3. And it's you just get sucked into it.
He loved it. He just
Yeah,
At
loved
least it was only 3.
Yeah, it'll turn into more. We'll see. But so, our game, our most recent game, you guys had a lot happen. A fair number of things happened. You guys got a lot of information, and there was some really great role play with our last session as well. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, how are all the characters feeling up to this point? This fire issue has been rough. There's been a lot going on. So, how is everyone doing with that?
These 3 circus people come into my town and set it on fire. Not even a full 2 days after arriving.
Okay.
Not even been 12 hours.
Here's the thing. He was with us most of all the time, so you can't even blame us for that. We were just there, and this happened.
Actually, it's probably 12 hours you guys were in town, because you arrived the night before, like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then the fire explosion started around also 8:30, 9 o'clock. So yeah, 12-hour period. Boom. Hell breaks loose. But yeah, so first off, I actually think, out of curiosity, Toa, you got to know these people and agreed to show them around town, and then got embroiled in some kind of disaster, and then found out, oh, they've been lying to me the whole time.
I've now come to realize why wizards don't help anyone. It's just... Oh, so this is why wizards don't help anyone, because the second they do, magical issues just keep appearing. It's like being a doctor on a plane, and just like, is anyone a doctor here? It's just like, is anyone a wizard here who can solve all of our problems?
This problem was like tailor-made for you too, because you use a lot of water-based stuff. So yeah, there you go.
Just call me Fireman Toa. Put on the new hat.
So, realistically though, what's going through Toa's head right now? I mean, he's in the middle of this cave crawl with these people that told them, hey, we're being blamed for a murder.
Slightly concerned that people are being accused of murders and I'm helping them. Slightly concerned. More intrigued with all the... This is like a fun new excitement. It's like... Because he's practically a college kid who just recently got out of college 5 months. It's like, he's like backpacking across Europe. Like, He's trying to live his full life before he goes to some mundane research job. And he's like, I've been researching this stuff and hasn't gotten anywhere in 5 months. And all of a sudden, these circus people show up. The city starts catching on fire. Runes start appearing in the air from explosions. It's like, wow. Like, I'm getting everything all at once. It's like a giant birthday cake. So yeah, he's curious on where this is going to lead, if it'll help speed up his research process, because he is like water. It doesn't like to just fully sit still given the chance.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. Is Toa having any thoughts about what's going to happen going forward? Like, once you guys get through this situation, is it kind of like take it as it goes now? Or is it kind of like, I got to decide whether I should trust these people or not?
He's very much a go with the flow sort of person.
So many water
Yeah, so-
references.
Yeah, it's almost like it was built into his character. Totally wasn't a happenstance. No, he's very much just, let's see where this takes me. Will this improve my understanding of certain things? Does this benefit me? Because at the end of the day, he's still a wizard who cares about his research. He's a very generous and nice person, but at the end of the day, he does care about his research and what he can get accomplished. So, if he feels the need that where this leads is to him being able to gain more knowledge in his field of this Exodus era, then he's going to ride that till it no longer bucks, per se.
This is bringing up a lot of questions too, because obviously we didn't have a Tavern Talk video like this for after our last session, because obviously we weren't all going to get together, so you guys just dealt with me last time. So this is going back all the way from the moment you guys first started in action with the disaster. So how just keeping Tawa for a minute or two, how's he feeling with confirmation of what he saw underwater? I think you know what I'm talking about. Viewers, you might catch what I'm talking about.
So part of the first thing was the reason why he wanted to check down there is seeing if they had anything to do with it to begin with. He doesn't fully trust them. He has some sort of personal grievances with them in a sort, that he doesn't know how to feel yet with, and so there's that lack of trust and knowing that he can't really share it with most people. And when he met another individual from town who knew of these same individuals, that it also puts a red flag on this new person that he met, because no one just knows about this group that Toa is keeping an eye on. So it's very much a playing multiple chessboards at the same time and trying to not show his cards also. He is playing multiple games at multiple levels.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I'm curious to see how things are going to go. Zavi is going to get a little bit of an award for a big daring rescue. Zabi's gone through the ringer a lot in this campaign so far, with getting charmed by the Naiad, getting taken, knocked unconscious, all the way down to 0 hit points from the 2 orcs that you guys fought, and then of course the betrayal of the Kitsune on the ship. And it's, there are some people that would have expected Zabi to kind of just be like, well, I'm going to shut in for a little bit, but it seems like he's not. And when a moment came that there was people stuck inside of a burning building, a literal burning building, he ran in on his own, with no one else knowing that he was in there to save these people. And so I'm curious, what's going through Zabi's head right now? Is he still trying to work through everything, and then is like doing crazy things to try to feel alive, or is it just he knows he has a job and he's focused?
The whole thing with going into the burning building was more of just him reacting to everything around, knowing that there was no real time to waste. He had to act if he was going to be able to help anybody, just like all of his friends were doing. So instead of putting one of them in danger as well, he went in by himself, knowing that if he's gonna do this, if anything happens, then, well, it's on him. I guess it would be more of like a proving to himself that he can handle things, even though he's never really been too worried about that. Now, a little bit later on, he's still upset that he can't, get things by on people, but he felt like he almost had it. It just didn't work.
Yeah, I get you.
He's still frustrated with how he words things to situations.
I gotcha. I will say, above table, having, in terms of roleplay, having you, the player, have Zabi make these decisions in the burning building had to be difficult given your background. And I'm not going to tell everybody what it is unless you want to share it, because it's not, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
You...
My background, back when I was first graduated high school, I ended up being a volunteer firefighter. I never made it through going through my actual burn and being able to go into a building, but I learned about patterns of fire. I learned about what to expect when you would go in. And so going through all of these, this whole scenario took me back, and it was trying to recall data. Actually, the one part you'll probably notice in the video where I say to do one thing, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to break the window and then open the door. I knew that I already had the roof falling in, the front door was open, the windows on the front were damaged, were popped. So I was like, okay, I should be able to open this, no flashover, but I did about breaking the window, and then I backed away from it and just said I was going to open the door. Chris understood what my thinking was and kept where I broke the window and then opened it, which made sense for what I was actually planning on doing.
Yeah.
So, still a small flash, but not what it could have been.
That whole thing was, oh, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
The whole thing for me was a little bit nail biting, because I was really hardcore trying to make sure, am I describing how this fire would act correctly? Obviously as a GM, you always want to make sure you're describing things that make the most sense. And I'm hoping that I described how that fire would burn and react under certain stimuli as best I could. I did research a little bit how fire acts and how deadly fire is and things of that sort. And this goes back to a conversation we had. If you're a GM and you're not looking up weird shit, then you're not doing it right. But yeah, so very curious to see how things play out for him, because you guys are getting into a new fight, and specifically, there are some enemies in there that you saw when the door opened that Zavi might kind of remember. So we'll see when that goes on. I don't know if you guys got full details yet. But moving on to Orion. Ryan, how is he feeling at the moment? This is different. You guys probably haven't had many disasters happen on your life of the circus. So, what is civilized life looking like to you now?
Considering right now he's on the run, he is now going by a new identity. He's trying to keep up with the facade, and he feels a little bit guilty about lying to people about who he is. Right now, he's just trying to focus on one thing at a time, but now that a disaster's happening, he's just going into full on guardian mode at this point because of what's happening. Like, he's just trying to be the person that can help out in that kind of given situation. Considering that he knew right away not to freak out, but just to focus on getting people out of the situation. That way, he knew people will be coming. He wanted to get people out of there and into a safe spot to get civilians out of the way so they don't get run upon. Either trampled by other people or falling debris. Right now, he also has that mindset of what he's seen from both Zavi and Kaya, considering how they kind of deal with people. So he's keeping in mind about what people might use as disaster for their own needs. Hence why my character decided to go in the house when he heard there was two people looking through it, and he's just like, I wonder why people are going and trying to look for information when a disaster's happening. It doesn't seem normal. So right now, he's in this cautionary mindset of, alright, we came to town to figure out about this guy who was supposed to come here, but somehow did not. Apparently tricked his friend Zavi, and has been is in league with the incident that caused him and his friends to be hunted down as murderers. Right now, he's just trying to figure out what is the connection. And considering what he just learned from both his friends Zavi, Kaya, and as well as what he learned from Toa, considering the runes from the last episode before, where they were told about ancient runes, this is circling in his mind that this is much more bigger than he thought. And at this point, he just wants to take care of what he needs to do right now, which is save him and his friends from getting caught and executed for a murder they did not commit, and figure out who is running the show and why would they picked as the pansies. Like, there had to be a full-on other reason or something, because he doesn't believe that this could just be like a whimsical thing. He doesn't think that people would be that cruel, when in reality he is still learning about life.
Jeez, I did not think he was thinking that much. Like, that's really deep. I'm very surprised. I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, that's really cool.
This is all going
Okay.
through the mind of a half-orc. I'm telling you this right now. People are just like, but it depends on the character at that point. But there is a way why when I'm playing as Orion, I'm doing certain things as him. Even though it may just like, all right, go for that, but why would he go for that? There is a legit reason why he's trying to and why he's doing these things. Even though he doesn't really say anything, he is thinking, he's taking in the information, and he's also thinking about what his friends are saying too. considering we're supposed to keep a low profile.
It's supposed to be.
I'm keeping a low profile, although I maybe sometimes let a little bit of information out. You never know.
And that's where he's just trying to make sure that he's trying to be the protector of the group. That way they know, all right, let's make sure we get our story straight and not set a place on fire or do anything crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But-
Crazy's not good.
But I would say that if anything, this next upcoming episode would definitely test him, considering what he found out about the information, especially with the fact that that note implies that this person who was also treated as maybe a pansy but did a crime is going to be a true test of his character, what his perception of justice is. And that's going to be a bigger mental issue later down the line for him, considering he dealt with an orc that called him a traitor to his own race.
Yeah, that's true. He did. Yeah. Okay. All right. Kaya. I think you had not some of the most interesting, but most different roleplay happen over the course of the last 2 sessions. And, obviously it's a little bit deeper, the thing going on. I don't know how much you want to share about some stuff because you kind of want these guys to react, in character and stuff like that. But it's the first time we've seen Kaya be a bit unnerved. And that was whenever you were helping in the healing little area that you guys helped set up. But so, how is it feeling to have Kaya kind of shift slightly?
Well, because I'm so in tune with the character, it feels natural because this is how I wrote her. I have a very big understanding of her thoughts and feelings, so this all makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense to any of these guys except for the GM. But Kaya's got some very personal things that she's dealing with right now, and it's definitely hitting her pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely saw that. So, the other thing you had going on is you had the emotional aspect of, of seeing a person be hurt and upsetting to you. But then you had one side of kind of you got back, got shocked out of that stupor. You went into a mania inside the harbor master's house, looking for these pieces. And the thing I think I'm curious about in character was it the head priest finally telling you, "Hey, cool it, take a breath away," that helped center Kaya, or was it, "I've got a new mission to worry about. I've got a new thing to pay attention to"? Which more grounded her?
It was definitely here's another thing that you can put all of your focus into, so just do that. In the back of her mind, it's still lurking, but now she can look into the conspiracies and put all the pieces together and hopefully get her names cleared, because that would be super great. And then my own personal gaffe of calling Orion by his actual name worked out perfectly because Kaya's so hyper focused, distraught, that it just worked out that she just didn't call him by the pseudo name that he was supposed to be going by.
So that's actually a question I was going to have, was that Abby the player forgetting and just making a misstep, or was that you intentionally having Kaya make the gaffe because of what was going on?
That was 100% me. That was 100% Abby. But it just worked out that it would work, it fit for Kaya too, so...
Gotcha. Okay. Another thing I'm curious about now is when you guys are going through the tunnels, Kaya had herself somewhat near the front of the group. And to be 100% honest, I wouldn't have expected that. Is there a reason why, or...
Well, I mean, I was behind Ryan-ish, so I was kind of using him as a meat shield, but I also saved his life and earned an upgrade, so...
That's true, that's true. It unfortunately cost you a little bit, because you got hit with a trap.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Those traps are rough. They're
Yes.
real rough.
I will say that I am quite in love with how Pathfinder does the trap system. Well, just hazards in general. It's really well written. You know, in most games that have details on hazards, traps, afflictions, what have you, it's just like, hey, here's an idea of how you could do it. This one is like, here's every detail you could possibly need. That way it can be noticed, it can be avoided, it can be undone, or it can be utilized. It's amazingly well put together, and I'm quite thankful to Paizo for writing the way they did. And this definitely is a plug for all the hazards. It's in the GM core, by the GM core. It's really good.
I will also say it wasn't just because she's using Orion as a meat shield. She does actually, like, she cares about if anybody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
a
Kaya
little
does
less
care.
for Toa. We just met.
That's fair.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to get anybody hurt. Kai doesn't want to get anybody hurt. But I am pretty perceptive. So it made sense for me to be at the front.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. So, all in all, you guys had a lot of interesting stuff happen. Overall, is the group. And I actually quite liked, and in most games, this is actually seen as like a, don't do this. But I think it did well. You guys split up. Whenever the first problems happened, like whenever you first got involved in problems, you guys kind of just went and did your own thing in the dock district of Bookhandle. And that's great. You guys weren't in any any kind of crazy initiative or any part where you really needed each other. But you were at least around close enough that you could have utilized each other. But I think it was really neat seeing you guys have your own, your own goals, your own things you wanted to accomplish during that. And I think it worked out very well for you guys. And obviously you guys got back together now, and it's great. But I'm more curious how everyone's thinking about all the information you guys found. You guys found this problem with what you guys thought was simply just being framed for a murder is getting bigger. It's turning into a bigger deal. And I'm curious, as a group, what you guys are thinking about with that.
Well, as the newest member of the group, oh my god, what the hell is this? Bunch of circus trope people involved in. I thought this was just a simple, like, oh, let me get some more research notes. No. I'm involved with potential murderers and all this other fun stuff, and just being like,
Alleged murder.
well,
Allegedly.
now I have to help them, because if I don't, then who knows what happens to me.
That's a good point. But you also found out that the stuff they have problems with, you're actually looking into yourself.
That's true.
As long as you can believe them, at least. Because they say that the explosion they're being blamed for back in that city called Aldenair had the exact same explosions as what you guys are seeing now, just on a much smaller scale. And so, in a weird way, you're connected because there's, Exodus era runes. So how does that I'm guessing that's really tickling Toa's fancy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason he decided to follow him into the creepy tunnel of potential death is because he's like, well, these people are making some pretty unique things as explosives. So let me go find their stuff so I can take a look at their stuff and see where A, they might be getting it from, B, how they learned to make it. Because as far as Stowe is concerned, that's a practical lost art in a sense. So it's like, what dusty old book did you find? Or stone, or whatever it happens to be. Could be a shield for all I know. Just be like, let me go find their research, because that's how the best research comes about, is by stealing other people's research.
It's true.
It worked for Einstein. He worked in the patent office.
I was gonna say Edison.
I was gonna say Edison.
Yeah.
Man made a living off of it.
Exactly. So, the rest of you, you know, this is, like I said, turning into something big. You guys were just simply trying to clear your name a little bit, but there's more to it than that now. Not only do you have your name to clear, but you have this base of operations of these things to try to find out. You have this character named Sven, who is kind of somewhat to blame for this, you know, the disaster. Although you guys actually found who was directly responsible. You found this journal that talked about a lot of deep stuff. This harbor master, the one that you had saved, Kaya, she went through the ringer, and you know, she decided to take people out to deal with it, and not looking good. So that's bad.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, but through this, you guys also found this city is rife with corruption. So how is everyone feeling about that?
This city is the perfect place to find more information out, and, well, to start on the path to clear our name is one thing. Second, Zavi knew that it wasn't going to be simple, because even though Orion is, now that I heard what you said, but he's not sure why we were the ones picked out and that there had to be more going on there. Zavi knows that he kind of pissed off the circus ringleader over time. So it could be easily that's why he was selected. And so he kind of knew that there might be more obstacles. Didn't expect to be this kind of obstacle. Didn't expect to see this much death happen. Or this destruction. But he's hoping that he can, you know, get ahead of it and try to prevent this kind of thing going forward.
Yeah.
Knowing that he might be the target.
Interestingly, I don't know if you've thought about this yet. So when you had the conversation with the mysterious figure on the ship, they told you there was election interference, like corruption.
Yeah.
And I know for a little bit after getting off the ship, Zavi was kind of like, I don't know if I should have trusted anything that guy said. But now you know he was actually telling the truth a little bit.
He wasn't
What else was truth?
Yeah. He,
Straight to it.
He's honest.
It's true. I mean,
he told some truth. He still should not be trusted. But, you know, whenever you give information, you've got to have some truth to it. Otherwise, you're not gonna be believed in any sense. So maybe this was just sprinkled on top just to give the belief that maybe that guy's not such a bad guy, or maybe trust him in the future. But it's obviously still on the fence about that. He still has something against him, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But what was said, like, okay, this is definitely something to look into.
Yeah. Well, you guys definitely have more to find out, and I will tell you that straight up. And you viewers as well have more to find out alongside them. We'll see how things go in our next session. When you guys actually are going to start off with a fight, because you guys didn't do very good at the door, but it happens. They're pirates. It's whatever. Anything anybody else has to add about our games, the last two? Or do you want to switch over to some Pathfinder news?
I'm just saying, here's this. We're also keeping in mind there's other things going on as well, because I know there's some people, you viewers, are saying that there's also things we have to keep in mind, such as the fact that, we still have that side quest that was given by us by both the city lord and the prefect of the other city that we went to in Sayori, which is where to find the posh lady who is particularly also hypnotizing people. So at this point, I feel like we're going into Skyrim mode of, you meet a new person, they have a quest for you. You meet another person, they have a quest for you. And I'm just like, it's somehow going to interact with each other. I know some of this is, and I'm just going to hate it. But don't worry, viewers. I do have a list. I will tell you this. We do have a list of all these quests that we're keeping in mind. So don't worry. We will discuss the theories and possibilities.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to find some more stuff. So, with all that said, let's chat about some Paizo stuff going on. We all know that War of Immortals is out now, the newest source book that adds 2 classes, Exemplar and Animist, and adds a bunch of new rules for Mythic play. And that's something that I'm okay with, adding into our game eventually, although it does make some fundamental changes. So I feel like we as a group should go through and kind of play test those rules a little bit to see how they fit in terms of our already established game. But those 2 new classes are interesting, and I would challenge everyone, please check them out. They're pretty cool. Specifically Animist. Animist has really interesting casting rules. It is a spellcaster, but it doesn't work like the casters we have in our party, where you guys have a set number of spell slots per spell level that as you level up you keep your older level slots. Animist doesn't. It is kind of built like if you've seen the Warlock from D&D 5th edition, and how it has a set number of spell lists and everything gets upcasted to a particular level. But when you look at the slots, it doesn't just say 2 or 3 or 4. It says 2 plus 2. And it's weird. It looks odd when you first look it up. And that's the way it works is you get 2 spell slots from just straight up Animist Divine casting. And then you get another 2 based on what kind of spirit your Animist brings in. You can have Primal spellcasting for that. You can have Arcane spellcasting for that. You can do Occult, Elemental Magic, or just keep with Divine. But you get a set number of decided factor of spells from that plus from your apparition, and so it's cool. I want to see that in play. And then the Exemplar, that one's cool because if of how your subclass works. You have let's call it a divine spark. It's the thing that helped you get a little bit divine, and it's kind of hard to describe without just taking like 10, 15 minutes on it. And I don't want to do that. But what you have is called your icon, IKON, and that is a physical object that holds the spark of your divinity, and that is what determines how your subclass works. And it's definitely a martial class. It's not casting. It's using martials, which I think is pretty cool. And I was kind of thinking about these. I think as players, you guys all have. I think over the time I've known you guys all have specific like go-tos or preferences that you guys have for your characters. Like, yeah, you do.
I already know what you're gonna say about specifically me.
Like Jay, I think you would very much enjoy that exemplar. I think you would get a kick out of it. Blake, I think you would get a kick out of that animist because, Jay, you like playing frontliner characters usually, and Blake, you like playing characters that have a bit of interesting mechanics behind them, and I think you have a preference for casters. Brent, I think you might enjoy either of them, but you're more of like a Dexy, subterfuge type, and Abby, you're kind of different. You don't have a preference for what's like casters or martials. Your preference is more of characters that, in their mechanics themselves, can have a lot of interesting roleplay and can be quirky. I think either of those you actually would enjoy it. I think Animist you would enjoy more. I think you would play up the apparitions part of it. But for you, Jay, there's another set of classes coming out, and I think you would like both of those even more. So, War of Immortals is out now. You can buy it. Please do. It's a really good book. But there's another book coming out that will be, I think, fully released by Gen Con 2025, and that's late July, early August, and it's called Battle Cry. And again, adding 2 new classes. These classes are the Commander and the Guardian. The Commander is a support martial. Yes, it does fight with sword, shield, whatever have you, but its biggest goal is to support the troops, the party members, by giving rallying cries and things of that sort, and getting everybody amped up. And then the Guardian is another martial who is designed to have big, heavy armor and be a tank that sits in front of everybody else. That takes the damage for everybody else. That's their main goal. Like, as I think Blake were talking about it, a literal tank. That's its goal.
Yeah.
I think both of those are going to be cool to see. And out of curiosity from you four, any of those 4 classes that are coming that are new, do they actually sound interesting to you? And I'm just making assumptions.
Straight up Guardian. I would just pretty much troll my enemies and just say, alright, come on, you can try a little bit harder. Just, did you swing? Oh, I didn't feel it. You should swing a little bit harder. Come on, just get it really in there.
What about you 3? Any of those sound interesting?
Guardian would be amusing. But I don't know. Like, each of them has their own, like, I could definitely build a character around any one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It just, what that flavor I would want to be.
Yeah. I feel that. Brent and Abby? Any of you guys?
Not too much on those ones. I mean, I'd of course give them a shot or look into them a little bit, try and build out a character. But you know me, I do prefer my Dexy, my martial classes. Like, I don't know why, but I always tend to steer away from spells. Mostly because I think it ends up just getting to be a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with all that. I want to just go in and do things. So
Yeah.
I just want to go and stab people. Let me just
It just
backstab this guy.
now I could see if I could turn one of them into more of like what was the one that you said? Um Now I'm blanking on it.
All I can see
Basic,
is it's just a meme of zombie being given a knife and someone telling him, "Go stab, child. Go do crime."
question. You said go stab a child. Is it a specific child? Does any child do? How much do I get paid? Does it have to be deadly, or can it just be a surface wound?
No, I said, no, go stab, child, as in you are the child. Go ahead and do crime.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But the fact that he went that way just tells you he's willing to do it for the coin.
Well, no, zombie. He would turn away certain ones of it, but if it was certain things, just to like kind of get into a crowd, then if he needs to do something, he needs to do something. He's undercover.
Yeah.
But no, if I could manage like help be supportive for the group, I could see myself playing one of them. I'd have to dive into it. That's all.
Yeah. Abby, what about you? Any of those four sound interesting?
So the way that I make characters is I write their backstories and I come up with the thoughts and feelings of the character kind of first, and then I'm like, okay, what fits their personality and traits the best. So I don't really ever exclude any classes. I just kind of feel out what fits the character best. So I could play anything, and I don't really think. I try not to be like, ugh, this sounds awful without having tried it first. So I'll give anything a chance upon. Do I have preferences? Yes. I love being a ranger. I really love Kaya, but it also, like, if I played another bard, would I like it as much, or do I just like Kaya as a character?
Good point. I definitely have interest in some of those. The Animist personally sounds really cool to me. And you guys know my style as a player. At least I think you do. I don't know. Maybe you don't. I'm pretty secretive.
Invisibility, I'm telling you, everyone right now, invisibility. Biggest spell for him. I'm telling everyone that now, hear it on this video as evidence, invisibility. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah, like-
invisibility and reading books.
Gaining knowledge.
Yes. Okay.
Even to the point
Wizard
it
is
will
my
kill.
second favorite class of either D&D or Pathfinder. I get it. Yeah.
You also like just being able to control different aspects of the battle, even from afar, or up close, depending on what need be. Considering you also like being a druid.
Yes, Druid is my favorite class in both D&D and Pathfinder. Wizard is my second on both.
And you do not like being someone who just hits things.
Yes. So I started, just to backstory, I started playing D&D when it was 3rd edition. I have played, since 3rd edition onward, I have played every class that D&D has made, except one. And I won't. Now as just stubborn pride, but I've never played as a barbarian. I just don't have the interest to. Pathfinder, maybe, because it is a lot more interesting. But the D&D version, I'm just not a big fan of. And for me, I think the biggest amount for a playstyle that I like is as a player, I like having utility in both combat situations and out of combat situations. I like having variant utility, being able to modify any way that I need to in a situation. And that's why I like wizards and druids, because they are very, very moldable. But barbarian to me just doesn't have enough built into it, at least in terms of D&D base 5th edition and 3rd and 4th. But yeah, so but these ones to me, these playtest stuff, the War of Immortals and Battlecry, those marshals do sound interesting to me because I can do stuff with them. I do believe a lot more, and I just have to see it. But yeah, but invisibility, yeah, okay, I get it. That's the thing I like to do. In the character I'm playing right now as a player, at a local game store, I am playing a wizard who, when combat starts, immediately turns invisible, and then uses a sentient book to float around and do his spells for him. So that I don't get hit, and the book can't be hit, so I go hide around a corner, turn invisible, let the book do its thing, and I stay safe.
I will say though, in that game, his one flaw came out really big. He likes to gather knowledge. He read a book, now he can't stop reading.
Yeah, I'm cursed with a book that I cannot put down in that game. So.
Yeah, he
Right.
still finds the ways to rip us.
I do. Because that character's kind of a jerk. But, with that said, I think we're getting a bit late in time. I think we have all the news we need to talk about. Anybody have any ending thoughts? What's the word I'm looking for? Last call. I don't think I have anything else. Alright, with that said, can't wait to see our next session. And Jay, do you want to sign us off today?
Yep. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. And have a nice night.
Alright, see you everyone.